Okay, we've been training for this for quite a while now. We're on the boss level. It's a very dangerous boss, so we're going to need to use all of our skills that we've learned and put them into practice. He'll be here any minute now, so... Oh my goodness, there it is, there he is. Okay, remember your training, Okay, let's do this, Hello warriors! Today I'm going to help you understand the boss tower, as well as give you some tips on how to get the most rewards from it. So without further ado, let's get into the video. The boss tower allows you to send streamers into battle to fight a boss. Simply select your lineup of streamers and press attack. The fighting will happen in the background, whether you're in a different building or have even closed the game on your phone entirely. They'll fight the boss for a while and there'll be a countdown timer informing you on how long is left till they complete their attack. Once they've finished fighting the boss, you can come back to the boss tower and watch a replay on how they did against the boss. If you were successful, your waiting will have paid off because you'll gain some nice loot and be able to attempt the next boss level. But before you start your climb up the boss tower and get stuck because you're a free-to-play player, you should probably max your best game building to level 17 as quickly as possible. Just kidding, by the way, you won't get stuck because you're free to play. Best game level 17 allows you to attack the boss with a maximum of 6 streamers. In addition to this, having level 17 increases the loot that you get from the boss tower. So if you haven't achieved this yet and are progressing through the boss tower, you'll be missing out on loot. After maxing your best game building, you'll be eager to climb the tower. However, one thing stands in your way: the countdown timer. The timer counts down the time it takes for your streamers to finish their attack against the boss. The first 10 levels have a relatively small waiting time. After the first 10 levels, a boss attempt will take 8 hours to complete. Yes, you heard me correctly. 8 hours. Now that you're on board with the waiting times, let's talk about how you can receive the most loot from the boss tower. If we ignore the first 10 levels, it's 8 hours per boss attempt. There's 24 hours in a day, so if we do some very complicated maths, we can see that you can get 3 boss attacks in per 24 hours. Doing this will obviously net you the most loot. However, I'd only recommend people to get 3 attacks per day if they're really motivated to do so, because for a lot of people, this could start to feel like a chore in the long run. Optimizing your attacks isn't the only thing that will get you the most loot from the boss tower. It's also to do with choosing your attacks wisely. Remember, attempting a boss level is exactly that, an attempt. There's no guarantee you'll succeed, therefore you'll need to attack each boss with your strongest lineup. And by strongest lineup, that doesn't automatically mean using your highest star and power streamers. You'll also need to consider the boss's counter faction. Let me introduce you to the counter faction graph. Complicated, I know. As you see on screen, there are 6 factions. Each streamer and boss belongs to a certain faction. Each faction both counters and is countered by another faction. Let's cross out the Kappa and Kappa Pride factions for now, as bosses only belong to one of the remaining 4 factions on screen: Lul, Smork, PogChamp, and Tryhard. You can see a boss's faction by looking at what colour the boss level is in the boss tower. Each colour corresponds to a certain faction. Blue is Lul, green is small, red is PogChamp, and purple is Tryhard. In order to choose a solid lineup of streamers to attack the boss with, a good rule of thumb is to try and use streamers which counter the boss's faction. This is because streamers will deal 100% more damage to their counter faction, meaning they'll deal more damage to the boss. So as you can see, it's often a good idea to sacrifice some power or use some lower starred streamers in order to counter the boss's faction and deal more damage overall. Countering a boss's faction is usually a very good way to progress. However, there might be some instances where you are using a lot of counters but are still falling short. There's a few things you could do here. The obvious ones are to increase your streamer's stars and levels, making them more powerful. However, in some scenarios, it's also worth considering using streamers which have certain crowd control abilities, such as stuns, silences, freezes, and petrifies, even if they don't counter the boss's faction. Now bear with me. I know what I said might sound a little contradictory, but let me give you an example. If you use a streamer with a stun ability and they land a stun, that means the boss won't get to attack for a turn. Which means all of your other streamers live for longer and are allowed to get off an extra attack. So as you can see, it can be a good idea to focus on abilities in addition to focusing on countering the boss's faction. Watch your replays carefully and use them to see what changes need to be made to your lineup. The reason you're making these changes, of course, is for the loot, everyone's favourite section. Similarly to the campaign tower, each boss level gives you a variety of loot, including gems, casino chips, pet eggs, and a whole lot more. In addition to this, every 5 levels alternates between giving you either a mega chip, which can be used to spin the slot machine in the streamer building, or the insane and highly rewarding PogChamp orb, which, as we all know, has the potential to unlock you some of the most powerful streamers in the game. Overall, the boss tower is a very simple building. Attack bosses, go AFK, then come back and get your loot. Sure, you'll also need to consider counter factions and streamers' abilities, but it doesn't get more complicated than that. Guys, thank you so much for watching. It's been a lot of fun making this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed, you learned something, and yeah, if you did enjoy this video, hit that like button and subscribe. I will see you next time. Peace!